5 seconds. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Tuesday on In the Ring with Christine. I usually don't do Tuesdays, but I can't do Friday because I'm going out of town. So here I am, and I have a special guest, James Johnson. James, how are you doing?
Doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. So tell everybody where you're from, your All Sports Media TV, and everything that you're doing in the sport of boxing.
Yes, I'm from Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Um, I've always been a fan of boxing. I grew up in the '90s, and got to see a lot of the greats. I actually boxed for about 4 or 5 years prior to my daughter being born, and I watched boxing a lot. I just didn't really, I wasn't into doing YouTube at the time. And about a year and a half ago, I just decided I was like, maybe I could do it, see how it goes. I started going to a bunch of amateur events again, just kind of getting into the environment and being around. I got friends that compete now, and I just wanted to get back in the sport as much as possible. YouTube is All
Fabulous.
Sports Media TV, and I try my best to research everything before I put it out and
Mm-hmm.
give my best analytical thoughts on any any boxer. It doesn't matter who it is.
No, I love that. And I love that you do your research too, because you know what, even though, and I'm sure you found this when we do our research, we still things come up different because even
Yeah.
our sources sometimes are having a hard time with the facts. So no,
Yep.
but I do love that. And I always, we love to have people on the show that have YouTube channels and just to shed light on them. So please everybody go and check out his page, All Sports Media TV. I'm having some trouble with with the chat, but I see Women's Boxing Channel. Hey, my friend. Hey, Christine. Looking forward to the show. Brilliant, because in the UK it's 11 p.m. for a change. Good. So I got you before you go to bed. So thank you so much for tuning in. So I guess it was a week ago, a week and a half ago. I had put out on X and Instagram that I wanted some intriguing questions to talk about.
Right.
And I was very happy that I got great responses on every platform. But yours came up first. Um, and it's a subject that has been in the limelight for a while, for maybe a few months now. The transgenderism in amateur boxing. Now, I did sneak on your page that was a subject on your page. So, talk to me about your thoughts and why this is something you want to discuss.
Well, for me, it 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 kind of hits home because my daughter, she's 9 now,
Hmm.
and she loves boxing. She loves to watch boxing with me, and she recently wanted to start training. And I told her, it take a few years, but we'll get you in there. We train at home.
Hmm.
Um, so when I think about it, I always think about you know the aspects of male and female. You For me, I don't necessarily want to see it get to a point where we just do away with male sports, female sports, and everybody's just in one category.
Hmm.
um, I believe that the categories are there for a reason, and in looking into what USA Boxing put out as far as their requirements, there's still a lot of what some people call like the gray area of you require the post-op and the hormone testing as well. But you have some boxers who speak about the bone density, the differences in that, and
Hmm.
organ placement, um, and just overall, the sheer size of a man versus a woman. Because like today's heavyweights, you got Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. They're massive heavyweights, 6'9", 6'7", two hundred
For
fifty plus
sure.
pounds.
Yes.
And I recently spoke with Hannah Gabriel's, and she was the WBA heavyweight
Love her.
champion.
That's my girl. Yes.
And the weight limit for women at heavyweight is only 175 pounds.
Hmm.
And that's almost 100 plus 100-pound difference.
Right.
I couldn't imagine seeing a man, of that size decide, he wants to identify as a woman
Hmm.
and compete as that. And I know this is professional boxing, and I know
Yeah, I
it's
was
more
gonna
so
say
on the
that I don't know. Like when as far as the amateur program, obviously, I'm very heavily involved. I'm here now, so I do know that side of it, and I do have the rules and everything, the stipulations. But as far as the pros, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to. I don't think we've crossed that bridge yet. I don't know how they're going to
right.
deal with that. I really
It's
don't.
like there has been a transgender athlete. I
Yes.
seen Fallon Fox was
Hmm.
an
Yes.
MMA fighter,
Yes. Hmm.
and I know there was a lot of flack with that because she had 3 knockouts, 2 submissions in her 5
Yes.
wins,
Hmm.
and there was a female to male athlete who competed twice last year and won one fight by technical decision. I think it was a head clash. It was on a Golden Boy event. And the
Hmm.
other one was by unanimous decision in a 4 round fight. The
Yeah.
judges saw it, I believe it was 39-37. And so that's kind of like the other side of the argument too, is like, they say, well, it's all about skill and, size don't win fights. That's true, sometimes to a certain extent. But when speaking to opponent of Fallon Fox, speaking about being on the ground and in the clinch,
Hmm.
and she stated that she's a pretty strong woman
Right.
and she could typically work her way around in the clinch with other women, but in that fight she just couldn't seem to get
Sure.
any type of leverage at all.
Yeah. And I don't know what their role is. I don't know as far as the levels and how long you have to be living, the gender that you choose. I'm not sure what those rules
For the
are. D
for the
Styles.
USA boxing.
No, no, no. I do know for USA boxing. I'm talking
Oh,
about
okay.
like Fallon, like MMA. I don't
Oh yeah,
know.
for
Yeah, about that. D Style said WBC mentioned they would create divisions for trans.
right.
And I do remember that came out, and I think that that's great.
Yes.
Women's Boxing Channel says, here's first point. When I was a kid, the term was always transsexual. Now it's transgender. Is that wokish? Wokish. Now it's transgender. Is that wokish? And if not, who is in the world that keeps changing these terms to say the others? I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not woke, I guess. Uh, the goddamn podcast said that Fallon Fox situation was terrible, as Fallon never disclosed that she was transitioned. Yeah, I do remember that situation, and I thought that that was very unfair. I think that you have to be very transparent when it comes to things like this because it's already life or death, just
Right.
getting in there. But definitely, I had no idea. I remember it came out, that she used to be a man, and I was shocked, and I thought, well, how do you catch it if these athletes are not transparent? Like, how do the sanctioning bodies catch it? You know?
Um,
What?
for me, I think even today with male and female boxing separate, there should be more strict testing. I read that they were talking about the testosterone levels.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the average of a man was like, I believe, 10 liters per something like that, and the average for a woman was about 3.1.
Yeah.
Um, so I think it just comes down to testing overall.
Yeah.
As you know, I'm not sure what the amateur boxing's regular testing um, is, how often it happens, but if this is allowed, I think it should happen, not just for them, but for everybody, because you don't
Well,
know who's
when
doing
when
what.
you say when you speak of, you don't know how much the amateur boxing testing is done. Clarify that, because like we had USADA here today and they're testing, but they're testing for illegal substances. So
Right.
there's not a test where they're coming in to check someone's gender. Is that what you're speaking of? Like there should be? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm saying about the like the hormone treatments and such, making sure that they're going through the proper, I guess they call it therapy, hormone therapy.
Yes, yes. Well, I will say this: there is not anyone on the team that is in this situation.
Right.
So, and so I do have. I'll just go over this, so we can just go down there, because if anyone has concerns or questions, they can always go to www.usavoxing.org, and it's there. We have the policy that was published August 25th, 2022. And so for minors under the age of 18, they must compete as their birth
As they're
gender
born.
and weight class.
Right.
That is a must. If they are over the age of 18, these are the stipulations. The athlete has to declare that their gender identity is female if they're male. This is for
Right.
male, and has completed gender reassignment surgery. The athlete, for a minimum of 4 years after surgery, has had quarterly hormone testing and presents USA Boxing documentation of hormone levels. So they have to have had um, their their uh, their reassignment surgery. They have had to have been living for 4 years as that gender, and they have to get quarterly hormone testing. The athlete must demonstrate that her total testosterone level in serum has been below 5 nmol for at least 48 months prior to her first competition, with the requirement for any longer period to be based on confidential case by case evaluation, considering whether or not 48 months is sufficient time. Also, the testosterone levels have to be below 5 in MCL, I'm not sure what that is, throughout the period of desired eligibility to compete in the female category. And there's so many things that they have to go through. And then also they have the rules for females to male eligibility.
Right.
It's not something that these athletes can just proclaim and profess, like, okay, I'm a female now or I'm a male now. They have to go through the reassignment surgery. And I will say, as far as I know to date, like right now, we have not had to deal with this situation. I'm not
Right.
going to say that we won't in the future, um, but there's also a letter from our CEO, Mike McAtee. We don't discriminate against sexual preference or reassignment surgery, nothing. We don't discriminate color, creed, religion, but we do have these rules that have to be followed.
Right.
This is where we're at right now. We're like at the forefront of it all. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that's like it's a sore topic. For a lot of people, it's tough.
Sure.
I know a lot of people they won't even comment on it because it's just so touchy. You don't want to come
Right.
off as offensive or I've heard it what they say saying that they don't exist,
Hmm.
but just having a conversation about it isn't saying that you don't exist. It's just trying to figure out how to go about it, how to um, put rules in place, put things in place so that there is a level playing field.
Well, yeah. Well, this is the times that we're living in, and I don't. I believe that everybody has a right to be happy, and to live the way that they choose. And but in society, we have rules. We have rules for every walk of life. male, female, transgender, religious, non-religious, whatever. There's rules. There's rules.
Right.
And I think as long as we follow these rules, that we're gonna be okay. Because we all have opinions, but opinions don't matter really.
Right.
We have to look at the facts. The Goddamn podcast said the hormone testing would absolutely be a great way to assist with the issue. Plus, they take hormones for the rest of their lives, but the discrimination would be difficult. Um, Discrimination in any form or capacity is so difficult, and it's just it's it's uncomfortable, and it's not right.
Right.
I think that, like I said, if we follow these rules and we do what we're supposed to do, we're gonna be okay. Because I mean, look at it now, like with women fighting women and men fighting men, and then people popping dirty, they're not following the rules,
Right.
and they're putting people in jeopardy.
Right.
Um, to me, it's not much different
Right.
as
And
far as rule following.
right. That's what I think I was alluding to as far as the more stricter test and like I said, I don't necessarily know how often it will be with amateur boxing and but as far as even from like amateur to professionals, you would
Hmm.
want something in place to, as we do now with,
Sure,
fighters, like you said, popping dirty, you still want something in place that will catch
sure.
anything where it won't slip through the cracks.
Yeah, and I'm just speaking, and I'm just guessing and assuming that once we run into an athlete that is in this situation and they have these rules to follow and they have to be tested every so often, then just as everybody else is being tested for illegal substances, they will have the same testing randomly. Um, because they're for USADA, that's they come randomly, just whenever.
Yeah.
You never know, and I think that if that's a situation in the future, then it's going to be the same thing. I
Right.
can't imagine we treat it any different. Um, so women's boxing channel says, what's happening, in my opinion, is the people making the rules for USA are too afraid to say no in case they're canceled or sued. Well, I don't I don't know exactly how they think, um, but I do respect your comment. I would just say, um, personally, the way I look at it is the world is changing, and we do have to prepare for different situations because we
Right.
don't want anyone to feel discriminated against. We want to everyone to have equal opportunity to compete and do what they need to do. So yeah, I believe that's what it is. True Media Boxing Radio. Thank you so much. I don't have anyone to control the comments right now. So, but thank you so much for your donation. I appreciate you so much and for tuning in. Absolutely do. MAW, hello, hello. Thank you so much. Everybody, please hit the like button. I do have some comments that I'm not going to read because, you know,
It's
some,
hey, I understand, and I wanted to touch like what you said, like it. What was that? Was it the WBC said they were going to create a separate category,
yes.
and I'm like I'm perfectly fine with that if every level decided to do it because
Right.
um like I said, I have a daughter, and with her uh gaining interest in the sports and everything, I understand under 18 they have to compete where
Hmm.
they were as they were born. um when they get older, things change and they
Sure.
have to I guess what I'm trying to say is, even if they wanted to change it so much where the
Hmm.
kids and the younger ones wanted to are identifying as the opposite,
Hmm.
they should create a separate category for that.
Hmm.
Maybe that'll happen, I'm not sure, but if it
Yeah.
does, I would be more in favor of that.
Sure. And who knows? Because this is I don't want to say that it's new, but it is, in a sense, it's new. Now it's coming, it's been in other sports. Now it's hitting boxing. And so I just believe the powers that be are taking each situation as it comes, and maybe one day there will be a demand for a different league, and hey, I can never get enough of boxing, so I'm okay. Um, like Coach Christine alluded to, I think it'll be like a domino effect, and with time, it'll allow the system to slowly add regulations to protect all athletes and their rights. Transparency is a must. Yeah, I just totally, totally believe that.
Right.
Bruce Gass, hello. Larry Liston, LMAO, they're gonna end up putting Mike Tyson with a wig on in there. You know what,
Hey,
Larry? Larry, you would
I,
have to
I
do
try
a
not
lot
to
of.
laugh about it, but you know, that's kind of what I was speaking on earlier with the heavyweights of today is they just said it might be a domino effect, and we could get to that point. I just like I said, me personally, to watch that would be I don't know, it'd be kind of tough for me.
Well, they're gonna have to do something with. I don't know. They're gonna have to move some equipment around. So I don't know how likely that's gonna be. But you know what? We who knows? Who knows? There have been crazier things. Crazier
Yes.
things. Um, and the goddamn podcast said uncharted territory for a lot of sports. Still, it is. It is.
Yeah. It
I think
yeah,
we're all
it's
learning.
still even like with Leah Thomas, that situation that went on with they tried to say it was national records, but I did some digging and I found out it was Ivy League records that
Hmm.
Leah Thomas broke. But the one thing that stuck out to me was the interviews that were done by the other swimmers and how they felt,
Oh yeah,
uncomfortable with it.
yeah. That was horrible.
And I guess that's a point of requiring the gender reassignment,
Right.
but it was
Right.
just a tough situation, and I was just on the fence about it. I was like, man, I don't know about this.
I'm assuming that, stories like that, has helped other sports create their ruling,
Right,
because that was a situation where I don't know that swimming ever had to deal with a situation like that before. And they probably didn't know how to handle it.
right,
And so they found that it was very uncomfortable and not a good idea. I don't know what they're going to do, in the future, but it does help other sports. Unfortunately, it helps other sports, but unfortunately, there are victims. There are people that are hurt.
right. As far as I
It's
know,
it's hard.
as of right now, as far as I know, the NCAA, I think they banned transgender male to female athletes from competing at the national events, like the
Uh-huh.
big time events. And I think that kind of led into the International Olympic Committee doing the
Yeah,
same
right.
for track and field and cycling.
Well, and everybody has a right to do and to protect in the way that they feel that they need to. Obviously, we have a right to be whichever gender makes us happy, but also, these corporations, these committees, they also have a right to protect um, their their athletes. So it's a very fine line. But in
Right,
the end of the day, everybody needs to be safe. Women's Boxing Channel says also, what changing room are USA putting trans in? Is that a valid point? Well, as of yet, we have not had to deal with a situation. And if they are, like in the rules stated, if they have been living, a different gender for at least 4 years and have had total reassignment surgery and are on hormones, then they would be, I'm assuming, whatever dressing room is that they identify as after they
right,
followed all of these rules.
right,
Victor Paylor says, come on, we know at some point it's going to be men acting like women to get wins off easier fights. I just feel like men's and women's and trans should be different group of fighters. It's happened. We just talked about that with
Right.
the swimming situation, and I think there was a weightlifting situation too.
Yeah, there was a
Um,
power lifter who broke a record for women, I believe that stood for, I want to say it was 10 plus years, and just came through and with ease broke the record
yeah,
within, it was, I think it was just, he trained, but it was, not very many competitions in between before he pushed
right.
it and just broke the record.
Yeah, and I mean so there are situations that are happening right now. Lisa, Caitlyn Jenner is against this. She was an Olympian, but she doesn't like it, and she has gone through transition.
Right.
Yeah, and and Caitlyn is entitled to her opinion.
Right. I
Caitlyn
seen that.
is. We're all entitled to our opinions,
Right.
but when it comes down to it, we still have to deal with these issues, and how are we going to deal with them? And
Right.
that's the bottom line. The goddamn podcast. The main issue comes in with combat sports due to the nature of bodily harm. The line is being towed because of how difficult it is to call. Yeah, you're right. MAW, not only is it unfair, it's just too dangerous when it comes to contact sports, especially. I
Right.
agree. I
And
agree
they,
with
they
that.
that was a point I spoke to somebody about where they were talking on average how many boxers get hurt a year,
Hmm.
and I don't think they were taking into account how many women, but they were just talking about how many male boxers, and that was
Hmm.
something that they also spoke on as well because I think it was 13 male boxers a year. They experience some type of life changing injury or some type of
Sure.
severe injury in the boxing ring, and they were questioning, these are men fighting against men.
Hmm.
How would that play out, you know, going from male to
Yeah,
female type of
for
thing?
sure. And we can all speculate, and we can all say, well, what if, and can you imagine if? But um, that's we're not having to do that right now, and thank God. You know, um, I guess that we will cross the bridge when we get there. My hope and prayer is that other sports kind of look and see what we've done and how we've done it, and follow suit so that we can protect each other. Debbie feels, if it is allowed, then what next? Men versus women in the same weight class? Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I know that as of today, men and women are not allowed to fight each other. Now, I know on the Pee Wee level, it was just changed where boys can fight little girls, and
Right.
girls can fight little boys. I think it's, I want to say it's, don't quote me on this, 9 and under. I think, do not quote me on that, because I don't deal with too many of the younger ones. Um, but that is happening now. But they are not adults. The
Yeah.
world to woke Danny Masterson claiming he's a she to transfer to a female prison. Well, Danny,
Yeah.
he wants to be surrounded by women.
I don't want to go on that one.
I don't know. I don't even know the situation. I'm just making
that
jokes. I don't even
that
know the
that's
situation.
that's the guy from the '70s show. He played Hyde. That's
Ah,
and he got apparently it were, I believe, there were two or three women who came out, said, some things happened back in like 2001, so
oh
he's
my gosh.
serving 20 or 30 years behind it. So
Oh my.
yeah, that's a tough
Yeah.
one.
Well, if his lawyer can get him to the female prison, oh my goodness, I don't know what to say. Um, women's boxing channel, yes, it's very complicated. Victor, Paylor, how often would think male trans that used to be women will jump into men's boxing versus the trans women that used to be males will jump into? Ooh, my goodness, that is a tongue twister. That's a lot. That's a mouthful. I don't know. There's like so many what ifs. There's so many what ifs. And I think that the only reason why we're dealing with this situation right now because it's a real situation where this could possibly happen. And until those situations happen, we don't too much think about them, I guess. I don't know.
Right.
Victor Baylor, no, you're not typing too fast. I'm just talking too fast, and it was just too much. Just too
That's
much.
my boy.
Thanks for tuning in. MAW, if you're talking about being against letting birth males compete with biological females, D style, I'm in 100% agreement with you. Another man's opinion. And we love your opinions. We love y'all's opinions. The goddamn podcast. I mean, in wrestling, lifestyle, in folk style, there were not enough girls. They did wrestle with boys, but none of the boys, at least in our tournaments, they never went all the way to hurt them. Yeah, I mean, it happens in boxing now. Sometimes we don't have uh, a female or a male to spar, the opposite sex, and they do it. They do
Right.
spar each other.
Yeah, I've heard
Obviously,
a lot
yeah,
of stories about women sparring men. I spoke
yeah.
with Shadesha Green on my channel a
Mm-hmm.
while back, and I asked her. She was like, she'll spar anybody that's giving the best work, and
Yes.
I'm okay with that. And we've seen videos come out of Clarissa Shields getting dropped in
Mm-hmm.
sparring. And a lot of people speculate about that and stuff. I'm okay with the sparring, man. It's just on a professional level. I think that's where I speak on it more. I understand the rules and the things that they're trying to do as far as the amateur goes. Um, so yeah, I don't know. It's real tough. It's it's a
It
tough one.
is tough. It is tough. It is a fine line, and there are some male boxers that will spar women, and they hold back and they work, and and then some people say, well, that's not fair because the girl's not holding back and she's giving everything, and she still has some power too. And then there's some guys that say, I don't care who gets in the ring with me, I'm going to go all out, and we're sparring. You
Right,
know, so it it happens. It does happen. And and this topic is only amongst us because that's the world that we're living in right now. The world is
right,
changing. People are given options and more accepted or not, by their options. But I think the bottom line is that USA Boxing is going to do everything that they possibly can to protect their athletes. Um, the transgender and the ones that are born women to stay women and male to stay male, to protect everybody involved.
right.
um Women's boxing channel also, what is the minimum age? I mean, I'd be damned livid and my 14-year-old daughter was no, yeah, so no, it's
It's
if
18.
they're it's 18. Yes, 18 and under, you have to compete at your birth assigned gender. After that, when they are adults, then we can talk.
Yeah,
Yes, it must be 18. Absolutely, it has to be 18. And I mean, that's fair. At 18, you're considered an adult. And you can make up your mind and be who and what you want to be. So I think that that's fair. Are there any other concerns that you have, or questions, or things that you want to talk about regarding this?
um, I'm not sure. I mean, I want to know like what um how it will work out for um the Olympics because I haven't seen anything as far as the Olympics goes yet.
Hmm.
Um, with the I know the USA Boxing they have their own thing. Would the
Hmm.
Olympic Committee have their own
Hmm.
thing?
So I think I know that they work very closely with USA Boxing and also World Boxing, who Mike McAtee, who our CEO, is also involved in that. I have not seen anything written, so I don't want to speak for them, but I am assuming that that they would have the same rules or similar.
Okay,
And as far as this Olympics that'll be taking place in July, there are not any transgenders that I know of that are
right,
involved.
right. Yeah, I
So
haven't
I think
heard
it's
of
new
any.
worldwide. I'm pretty sure it's new worldwide.
Yeah, and that's I seen a lot of I seen who is that, Ebony Bridges.
Uh-huh.
She spoke about it and she spoke out
Yes.
against it
Yes.
a while back, and she went as far as to say is in 50 years, you know, every champion from amateur to pro would be natural born male type of thing. And I think that's what a lot of people are looking at is, you know, the long run of what
Hmm.
will happen to women's sports. Because even for me, like I said it on my channel, you know, I believe in women's sports, and a lot of people they don't even care about women's sports, but for me, I do. I like to watch women's
Absolutely.
sports, boxing, track and field, basketball, don't matter. And, you know, I'm okay with watching just women's sports or just men's sports, and as
Right.
well as if they want to create categories or, you know, separate leagues or something like that and just put them all on the same network or something like that, you know?
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I'm for whatever they want to do. I believe that transgender athletes and people, they have the right to, like I said before, be happy and participate in whatever form and fashion that they can. There's some things that I want to do, but because of some rules, I can't. So it's just about following rules, like
Right.
whatever rules pertain to you, and protecting, um, protecting other athletes. I mean, I'm a full grown woman, and if I say, oh, I want to, go and play kickball with some 5 year olds, and or dodgeball, no, you got to protect the athletes. So there's rules in place for a reason, and we just have to respect that. MAW says sexual preference has nothing to do with maintaining a level playing field. Equality swings both ways. Transgenders can push one way, but shouldn't be offended when non-transgenders disagree. Absolutely. I
Right.
agree. I agree with
Yep.
that. Like,
Yep.
we're not always going to agree, and that's what makes this world and our sport, so interesting. I mean, we see so many Twitter X debates, and other debates on YouTube and on TV, on the news, and in person, and I mean, that's what makes the world go round. I
Right.
think the bottom line, we just have to respect each other. We don't have to agree. We can agree to disagree, and that's
Right.
okay.
Yeah. Respect is ultimate. And, you know, that's why I said like I don't want to come off as offensive to anybody, but you know,
No.
I just call it based on what I see, the research that I've
Right.
done, and you
Right.
know, the new details that are coming out. That's just, you know, the way we got to call it. You know,
Well,
I've
and
been
and just
called
like
a
you said, you have a daughter, so it's like that is why you're maybe more concerned than maybe someone who has a son or that
all
doesn't
right,
have children, you know?
right, right. I got two beautiful little boys too.
Yeah.
And my oldest son, he's 2, and he's always out there. Every time I got a boxing thing going on, he's trying to hit the bag as well.
Oh,
And I think about even, you know, when he's telling me he's wanting to box, you know, when he gets
right.
older, I'm like, hey, you know, this is how we're gonna do this, and we got to go
That's
by this
great.
rule and
Yeah,
focus on this.
exactly. And that's the thing, and just depending on our lives and who's in our family and our own experiences, that's how we come to these opinions. But the bottom line is, these guys are in charge for the amateur program, and they've put out their rules. And like I said, anybody can look at them. They are public knowledge. There's nothing being hidden. And I will say, um, to date, we do not have any transgenders that we're dealing with right now, but in the future it may be different, and we'll
Right.
we'll do that when it comes, and be as fair as possible, you know.
Definitely,
So
definitely.
so before we take off, because I am in Colorado and I do have to take an athlete to an appointment. We leave for Italy on Thursday, so we were just like running around going crazy. But before we do a log off, final words. Um, oh, I'm sorry. Women's Boxing Channel. What was Lookie's Higher show? You've got to go. You got to go and watch it. You got to go back. Run it back. Go to YouTube. Watch it. But anyway, last words, final words. You know where people can find you again, how they can support you, yada yada yada.
Um, you can find me on YouTube at All Sports Media TV. I have a Instagram page. It's All Sports Media TV as well. You can also find me on my Instagram page. It's KJ the Great 09. I also have a TikTok at KJ the Great 09. I try to go to as many amateur boxing events as I can around town. ESPN and DAZN, they've done some events here in Tulsa. I've been to them. So yeah, you can support me by just hitting that subscribe button, that follow button.
Love it. Absolutely love it. And thanks to all the chat. Love you all. Oh, Women's Boxing Channel, love you so much. But anyway, thanks so much to you, James, for coming on. And I'm gonna have some other guests because we have some other great topics that we're gonna talk about. But this was a really good one. I've been putting off for a long time to talk about it, and I'm glad that I got to share the stage with you and discuss it. And
Thank
hopefully
you for having
everybody
me.
got some information. Absolutely, we'll have to do it again.
Oh yes, for sure.
Well, y'all have a good night, everybody. Loves and love you. And I'll see you on Wednesday with my girls. Women Crushing It Wednesdays. Good night.